Joe and Pete, all set for the day's work. Boots are removed from the truck, and there's good use for a nearby log as they put on the footwear. Pete wears heavy socks, 2 pairs of them, because he knows from experience they're best for caulk boots and absorb moisture as well as cushion and protect his feet. Joe, on the other hand, figures city socks are good enough. Quickly laces up his boots and finishes the operation with a beautiful bow. And dig those fancy pant cuffs. Let's watch how Pete ties his boots. When the top of the boot is reached, one lace is doubled to form a loop. The loop is then passed through the opposite eye. The same is done with the second lace. The loose ends of each lace are then crossed and fed through the open loops and pulled tight. As an added precaution, the pant cuffs are tucked into the socks. Bush work has many hazards. Be prepared. Pete first places a 100-foot safety rope in the front of his tally bag. The most important item, his compass, is tied securely to his cruising vest and is never removed. At the back of his vest, Pete also adds emergency flares. A first aid kit. One roller bandage. A waterproof match container. A bar of chocolate and a bottle of insect repellent. As he stands, he checks to make sure his hunting knife is in place. Now what's Joe up to? He's checking his supplies. Time to move on. Pete shoulders his pack. Joe enjoys a last refreshing drink, and away they go, bound for the tie point. Pete leads the way through the bush. Close behind is Joe, and already he's wondering if a light and sleeveless shirt provides the best protection. Not wishing to be left behind, he gets even closer to Pete and winds up with a branch stinging across his face. He learns the hard way that following too close behind is dangerous. Mind you, Pete shouldn't have let the branch go. A little first aid is in order. Pete, using a profound knowledge of medicine, skillfully applies a Band-Aid to the side of Joe's face. Off again. A radar-controlled branch stub enters one of Joe's boot loops. The stub holds, Joe doesn't. Undaunted, Joe gets up and starts off again. This time it's a pant cuff that picks up a fallen branch. Of all the compassmen on the crew, how was Pete so fortunate? On they go. Uh-oh. What's Lightfoot going to try now? Looks like a shortcut. Joe, get back before you break your neck. Did you stop to think that bark on windfalls is often loose? Take the longer way, Joe. It may not be as fast, but it's usually safer. Some guys sure have to learn the hard way. Remember, good caulks are as essential as good sense. Check them regularly. Sprains and strains from trips and falls are the most common injuries in the bush. Pete and Joe finally reach the tie tree from which they will run a tie line to the sample. Pete removes the scout axe from the tally bag and gives Joe the honor of blazing the tree. Whoops. Hold it, Joe. You better let Pete have that axe. Use 2 hands when you can. It gives you more control and more power. Many axe cuts are the result of carelessness with scout axes. Joe finishes the main blaze and without checking his footing, steps around the tree to complete the secondary blaze. Is this what they mean by slow learner? From the tie tree, Joe takes the chain and strides off along the compass line. He comes to a log and, with one hand on a rotten snag, heaves himself across. The top breaks off and bounces off his hard hat. Is anyone keeping score? The end of the tie line at last, and Joe completes tagging the center tree for the sample. Did someone say poison ivy? Joe attempts to tag a tree. Pete, with tacker in pocket and a 4.5-foot measuring stick, tags the tree and replaces the tacker in his pocket. Remember, a swinging tacker can be hard on front teeth. A pro in action, measuring a diameter. Another pro in action, measuring a diameter. Watch those footholds. Joe, measuring a tree height. Joe, watch out, Joe! A few ulcers later, Pete finally completes the sample and decides it's best that he wrap up the chain. On the way back, our crew makes its way down a rock slide. Pete, you should have known better. Get that man over to the side where he won't kill you. Steep areas with loose rocks are dangerous. Be careful and keep your head up. To everyone's surprise, especially Pete's, our stars somehow managed to return to their rover, and those soft shoes are going to feel mighty good. Oh, those aching feet. And what about good sleeves, too? Hey, who's this guy? It looks like Joe. It is Joe, the well-dressed tallyman.